Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday. And I have a guest from Ireland in the house who's actually coming to us from the United States. So it's kind of fun. So another traveler. So we're here with Frank today and his talking mustache. And we've got to work that into the conversation somehow because that's so interesting. So anyways, Frank, before we get started and hop into our topic, can you please just introduce yourself and tell people who you are and what you do, and then we'll get stuck in.
Of course, yeah, and thanks so much. It's really lovely being here. Lovely to properly meet you. Like we said earlier, feel like I already know you. I can't believe it's actually the first time we're talking face to face. But yeah, I'm Frank Prendergast. I'm one half of the digital marketing team, Frank and Marci. Marci is Marci Cornett. We're a married couple as well as a business duo, and we help solopreneurs and small businesses rise above the blah and grow online.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So our topic today is about rising above the blah. I love that phrase. That's great. How to outwit AI with your content marketing. And it's a fabulous topic because nowadays on LinkedIn, you just see AI. It's just everywhere. So just to clarify, before we get stuck in, you actually embrace AI. You like AI. You are not anti-AI at all. You just think that there's a time and a place for it. So, and I actually read one of your newsletters and you did a fabulous job talking about visual images and AI. And I do recommend everybody go check that one out. So let's start with your feelings about AI and then slide into our topic, Frank.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I think like everyone else, I have mixed feelings about AI, but I suppose the overriding thing is I'm fascinated by it. Whether it's the potential dystopian future we're facing, or the utopian future we're facing, or the, you know what, things will just trundle along much as they were once we get used to it. Who knows? But whatever the outcome, I find it absolutely fascinating. So absolutely, I'm not anti-AI. I certainly think there are societal global issues that need to be addressed, but let's not go down that rabbit hole today. So when it comes to marketing, I think, as marketers or as business owners who are involved in marketing their business, I think ignore AI at your peril. So what I'm kind of here to talk about really is like embracing it and outwitting it, because it is a tool and everybody is going to have access to it. So if you don't take advantage of the benefits, you're going to be left behind. But if you don't learn to kind of outwit it or do more than AI can do, you're also just going to get lost in a sea of AI created noise, because everyone's going to be, it's rolling out everywhere. It's in Notion, it's in Canva, it's being added to the Google suite of tools. It's, anywhere you create content, AI is popping up. So in a way, we need to learn how to leverage it and how to get beyond what just AI can do, I think.
I love that. And I think it's so true because I know, in marketing, it's always about the customer, their pain points, the customer journey. What are they really looking for? And AI could give you kind of a blah answer. If I was to look at like video, what are the pain points of people with video? It's probably going to give me the same blah 3 categories that every other video marketer would have. And if we were all posting the same stuff that we just got out of ChatGPT or Google Bard or whatever, it's going to be blah. So it's really meeting those customers and digging deep and getting to the root of that stuff, because AI only knows kind of what we've taught it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We love AI and we use it, but we never use it as is, just what comes out of it from the first prompt. And one of the reasons I say, start playing with it now. Everyone should start playing with it now, because there are knacks to getting it to produce content that is even, usable as a base. And for example, one thing I find fascinating is Marci gets better output from ChatGPT than I do. Now, why is that? I think it's probably two reasons. One is that she is a better copywriter than I am. She's a better writer than I am. She's a better copywriter than I am. She's got a lot more training than I have. She knows a lot more about the copywriting frameworks, about structure, things like that. So that allows her to prompt in ways that I wouldn't even think of prompting. So that's the first thing, is that, it's a really powerful tool, but the more you know going into it, the better. So I would say that there's still a need to get to know writing frameworks, get to be a better writer so that you can get better output from the AI tools. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is just that, and this is, I don't know how useful this is, but I find it kind of fascinating. I think that Marci just has a different tone of voice to me. So you might look at both our prompts and kind of go, well, they're more or less the same prompt. Why is Marci getting way better output? But I think Marci has maybe, an elegance of phrasing that results in an elegance of output. And it can be tiny little things, like I might say to ChatGPT, make this more conversational. And what I get is it's undeniably more conversational, but it's not in the tone that I would feel comfortable, using. And I looked over Marci's shoulder one day, and she was saying something like, could you make this friendlier and more conversational? And I was like, ooh, interesting. Like tiny little change, but the output seems to be much more usable. I don't know how useful that is, except maybe, I suppose, keep experimenting, keep asking it in different ways, trying different prompts. But yeah, we never use something as is out of ChatGPT. And frequently what Marci will do is get ChatGPT to do like 3 different versions in totally different styles, totally different voices, just to surface ideas, just to surface different ways of looking at it. And then Marci will start to put it together from those 3 different drafts. She will start to write something edited from those drafts, but also adding her own voice. And then the final piece of the puzzle, which is vital, I think, is that adding another layer of humanity on top of that. So if it's for a client, we might interview the client, or, add in quotes, or basically add in, if it's for your own company, add in your own point of view as well, making sure to do that, making sure your own voice, your own thoughts are in there as well. And this process also is really only for posts. Like if you're doing a blog post, then this process is ideal for those posts that in the past you might have gone to Google and done a load of research and then written something. And this kind of goes back to what you were saying about it's really working from what we've taught it. Yeah. So it saves a lot of time from that perspective, in terms of you don't need to do all of that research. What you do need to do is fact check it rigorously, because hallucinations are still a problem. That's where AI just makes stuff up. If it doesn't have the answer, it'll just make something up. Frequently, if you ask it to do some research and cite the sources, quite often those sources will sound really credible and be entirely made up. But it still saves a lot of time if you ask it to write the first draft and then fact check it. It still saves a massive amount of time compared to going out, doing all the searches, compiling all the different sources. So still a huge time saver. But that brings us to what you were saying, which is that where we really see what we do excelling way beyond what AI can do is by starting any content marketing project with marketing research. And going and talking to humans, going and talking to customers, to prospects, to non-buyers, and really getting to grips with, what is the problem they're trying to solve? What actually made them kind of in the first place decide to go looking for a solution, if indeed they did? What are the objections that they have? What are the things that, what are the things that almost, if it's a client, for example, what almost made them not become a client? What almost made them go, actually, I might go over here? Similarly, if they're non-buyers, and this is something, a lot of people have resistance to talking to non-buyers. For example, if you've been through a sales process with someone and they haven't purchased, a lot of people are like, well, they didn't purchase, we can't talk to them. We have found actually a lot of people are quite open to chatting. And that can produce absolute gold because, frequently there's just a business reason why it didn't make sense for them to purchase. And it's vital for you to know what those reasons are, because then you can start to address them, or you start to realize, oh, they're not my ideal client, or they're not my ideal customer, whichever. And so, having those human conversations. And then one of the things that we do is we figure out, where are most people in terms of the stages of awareness of your business. So, and I'll have to check my notes. Stages of awareness. Eugene Schwartz came up with the stages of awareness.
Love it.
It's a lovely, useful framework to start to plot out your content, because it is there is unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and most aware. So it's from somebody who may not even realize they have a problem, to someone who realizes there's a problem but doesn't necessarily know there are solutions, to someone who knows there are solutions but doesn't know about your product, to someone who now knows so much about your product that they're ready to buy. And so we look at where most people are on that spectrum, and then we start to create content that moves people through the stages of awareness until they're ready to purchase. And digging into those human stories is something that AI is just not able to do as of right now.
I love that. And I can see how that is so important, that I know I've been on market research surveys on the other end. I actually haven't done any myself, but now I'm really thinking about this. Is so clever. But I once had an AI survey, and it was done via video, and it was they just kept serving me up. It was almost like a choose your own adventure. I answered this, and then it served me the next question. But a lot of times I didn't understand the question, so I wasn't able to clarify what exactly were they wanting to know. And I thought, if that was a human, they would have taken that and they would have come up with another question based upon my answer. And this couldn't do that. It was just a step. So I can see how the human element adds so much into the equation.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, isn't it? Because it's right now everyone's talking about AI and how marketers will be replaced, and I mean all of that it's possibly true. AI may get so good that it will be able to conduct those interviews. But right now, where we are right now, the conversations that we have with people, we have a list of questions that we want to try to cover with them, but really we open every interview with a general question about, look, what was going on with you that made you start to consider this at all? And then we see where it goes. And as you say, you have to listen so closely and start to intuit, oh, hang on, there's something behind this. I need to get deeper into this. I need to find out a bit more about this, and, tell me more about that. Or, so yeah, AI just can't do that right now. And it surfaces pure marketing gold. So it really is, you just have to do it. You just really do. Yeah. Everyone has to do it. Yeah.
I love it. And one of the things, I just finished reading your chapter of the amazing marketing book that just came out. Actually, let me get the title right. The Most Amazing Marketing Book. And your chapter was You Can't Afford to Ignore Marketing Research. And I have to tell you, I had a little bit of a paradigm shift when I saw your chapter, because I went, well, that's the big companies. I'm a one-person show. And I think there's this idea that it's we see, consumer groups with Nike, that's our vision of market research. But you kind of gave me a shift reading your chapter. First of all, it was very helpful. You gave so many great suggestions on how to do that market research and all the tools available for us to do it. But you kind of broke it down that it's even something as simple as open-ended questions are a way of getting, it's all research. It's all research. But I love that you are suggesting solopreneurs, one-person business, we can do it too. So that's
Absolutely.
incredible.
Absolutely. And thank you. That's so lovely to hear, because I mean that was the absolute goal of our chapter, was to make sure that everybody realized that actually the tools are there now. It's so simple to go out and do some marketing research, and it's so valuable. And we really wanted it to be a highly practical chapter as well. So that feedback is just lovely to hear. Thank you.
Now, with regards to LinkedIn specifically, if someone like me wanted to do a little bit of research, what are just some of the things I could be doing on LinkedIn that are very simple to do some market research?
I think polls are an obvious one, and I think they can be really useful. So I'll give you one example is last year. I haven't done it recently, and I'm actually thinking I need to go back and start doing that again. But last year, I got into the habit of running some polls to find out what were the topics that were interesting people. Or, one simple example was, I was talking earlier about how I like these frameworks, like the stages of awareness, or another one I love is AIDA, the attention, interest, desire, action. So it's a very, very simple little customer journey framework. It's also sometimes used as a very simple copywriting framework. So I love it, and I was going to share about it, but I was like, does everyone know about this? Is this just old hat? Am I just wasting, is this just silly to be sharing? So I ran a poll. I just said, do you know what AIDA is? And I think it was about 80% of people had no idea what I was talking about. And then the other 20% of people were saying, everybody knows AIDA. What are you talking about? Everyone knows it, But 80% said, no, we don't know what it is. What is it? Love to hear more. So the next week I would do a post about attention, interest, desire, action. And it would do really well because I had now proven that 80% of people had no idea what it was. That was, it was worthwhile sharing with my audience. I did similar around kind of email marketing, and so you can start to get a sense of like what topics people are interested in through polls. I haven't, something else that I think you could do. I haven't done this, but we found it really useful when we would do webinars or workshops. The Q&A sessions at the end, again, were pure gold, because now people were asking about the actual problems they were facing. How do you fix this? How do you do this? How would you suggest dealing with this? So, I think LinkedIn audio, for example, might be a good way of doing something similar, and just, hearing from people and listening to people. So yeah, you could do a kind of an AMA and ask me anything, or you could do a little tutorial on something and then take questions. So I think there's absolutely loads of opportunities, and even just in the comments and in the messages, just chatting to people and really, I mean, it all comes down to listening. It all comes down to the listening as deeply as you can, because we all fall into the trap of going into broadcast mode a little bit, I think, when we're busy trying to promote our business, and but it's so important to just listen to what people are asking, to what people are commenting on, what's resonating in the posts. It's all data if you listen and pay attention.
I love that. And you've reminded me that we should be listening to everyone who has joined us today, because that is the wonderful thing about a LinkedIn Live, is that you are bringing in the audience. It's like there's 3 chairs here. There's 3 chairs here. So that's really wonderful. So we have Jeff Young, Gillian, and Frank. Love anything that can help me outwit AI. Let's do this. So I love this. And I love that you said that a part of getting there's almost a relationship building that goes on with AI. And I think it was Nigel Cliff who actually says please. And at first I kind of giggled, and he said, no, I really, because I went, it's because you're British. Like Americans wouldn't say please. But he said, actually, he personally finds that is one thing that he gets a better response if he's kind, which, you know, you kind of makes sense, right?
I was just talking to Marci about this before hopping on, because I've always done that as well. I've always said please and thank you, and I used to joke. About it being because I wanted to be on its good side when the rise of the machines happened. um, but, but it's
Hedge
funny
your
because,
bets now.
but myself and Marci both agreed that. So Marci said, she always gives it positive reinforcement. So she will always say, I talked earlier about could you make this more conversational? So Marci, when it comes back with its first output, Marci will say, that's great. I love it. Could you just possibly make it a little friendlier and conversational?
I love that. That's gold. That's gold. So Marcia, a different kind of Marcia, she says, hello, everyone. Thank you for hosting this event, Gillian. Woo-hoo-hoo. We have Annette Richmond in the house. So excited for this. What's happening? I love everybody's back and forth. They say hello to each other. Yes, prompts are so important with Chat GPT. And Annette said that, and it's true. And it was interesting. Just for kicks, I went into Google Bard and I asked it to talk about, I just took our topic and I asked it to just give me some information about our topic. And it went through and told me about how Chat GPT, like basically AI, was better. And it said, yes, there are some human things that can, but AI can do this and this and this. And it was like trying to sell me. So I kept asking it, well, what would humans do better? And I had to do 3 different kind of go back to the drawing board. And I kept saying, take the above paragraph, but can you actually highlight why humans would be better? And eventually it caved and it said, well, humans are better for empathy. We don't have empathy. It said that humans were better for relationship building and humans were more creative. So, but it took 3 tries to get it to stop selling itself.
That's fascinating.
Prompts are everything. Good evening. Great topic today. Lovely to see you both, from Rebecca. I love it. I love it. Yes, I have the same experience in my very different world. Often as coaches or consultants or mentors or advisors, it's what the person doesn't say. AI right now, I love the right now, can't hear what you don't say like experts can. So what do you think of that, Frank?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with everything, including the right now, because who knows where we're going to end up. And you mentioned empathy as well. I mean, I find it this is what I find fascinating about AI. I mean, obviously, right now AI cannot be empathetic. However, I think it's quickly learning how to create content that sounds empathetic, and that opens up a whole other can of worms around authenticity and around how okay is that, and around, if I feed AI in my life story and it can create content and it can tell stories on my behalf, is that ethically sound? Is it questionable? I don't think we should get into that right now, but it is all absolutely fascinating.
Yes. Yes.
I think the last kind of part of the puzzle in terms of what we're doing right now and what's kind of working right now, you mentioned earlier about, marketing research not just being for the big companies, and that just reminded me as well of a part of our process. So that the third part of the puzzle basically is that we use Meta ads or Facebook ads to get the content out there in the world. And so obviously that means it's going out to social media. And what we find is, again, the thing that jogged my memory about the big companies was, one of the things we do is we kind of say, look, basically be your own press. So if you kind of figure out where your target audience, for want of a better word, what do they like to read? What are they interested in? So, for example, I'm sure there are a host of, startups out there who would love to be featured in Forbes because it'll bring in business. The right people are reading Forbes, etc. And yeah, absolutely, that's true. But what about creating your own content that mirrors, what you would like to see in Forbes. And so you do your marketing research, you figure out what stage of awareness your audience is at, but then you create, again, this outwitting the AI, you create this human interest story that just happens to work in some of the things you need to move people on to the next stage of awareness. So whether that's working in the objections or whether it's working in, if someone is problem aware, not solution aware, you just start to work into the content, the solution. So it doesn't have to be rocket science. It can be, it can be relatively simple. But I think a lot of the time when people are doing content marketing, they focus on the later stages of awareness. It's almost like they assume everyone is ready to buy, and they're creating content at that kind of most aware stage of awareness, instead of thinking, actually, hang on, most people are probably further back up here in maybe problem aware or maybe solution aware. And people are on social media. They're not there. If they've never heard of you, how are they really going to react to buy my stuff?
Right.
However, they might be really interested in the very human story behind how this company is solving this problem, or how they even came to get to that place. And we find that content, again, for the earlier stages of awareness, that type of content, it works so well and gets high levels of engagement. And AI just will never be able to create that type of content, or cannot create that type of content right now.
Right. And I love this, because essentially you're saying you do the research, then you have all this information. So then it's kind of like puzzle pieces. And you have to say, well, where am I going to put this one? Where does this go? Where does that go? And it could be that one piece of content could be used in different parts. Or sometimes it's all specific, that this thing helps with, brand awareness versus conversion of the sale and that sort of thing. So I could see how a lot of people would say, okay, yes, I have to have part one, which was the research, and then part two. Now, what do I do with it? How do I now structure it into a content marketing strategy? So that's brilliant. And I'm assuming that's something that you help people with your business, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This is the process we do for clients. And, it's interesting because, like I said, a lot of people are kind of going, oh, is content marketing dead now because AI, as a business, is content marketing dead because AI is just going to take over and do it all? And we are like, you know what? Because we have traditionally provided quite a broad service to our clients, and we're actually doubling down on content marketing because we see an opportunity here where we can outwit AI and we can outperform AI while embracing it and while using it in our processes. So yeah, well, we will see what the future holds. But right now, we are creating content that is performing really, really well for our clients, and I don't believe that AI would be able to get those results out of the can.
I love that. And I love that humanity, the human element, is sort of that silver thread that you weave throughout all of it, whether it's the marketing, the content planning, the strategy, everything that you do, that's how you rise above the blah. Because otherwise everybody's just going to put out this, and we see that. It's like, okay, how many more steal my LinkedIn strategy posts are we going to see as a carousel? It's like, please stop. It's like, so we need something that does help us rise above the blah. And to me, it's adding in that human element. So I love that.
And that's why I wanted to kind of chat today as well, is because, yes, we do this for our clients, but also, you can do it for yourself. And I wanted to share this with people and share the process with people, because you can absolutely do this for one's own business.
I love this. This is super. Okay, so we have almost come to the end of our 30 minutes together. So before we wrap up, I wonder if you would kind of give us a takeaway, a summary of what we've talked about today.
Yeah, so I think the main things are, embrace AI. Just, even if it's just putting aside half an hour a week just to play with the tools and see what they're like, and just start to get used to them, start to figure out where you might be able to apply them in your content creation processes or strategies. And then the second part is the marketing research part. Just, it is so easy now to do marketing research. It is not the remit of just big companies anymore. Anyone can get in touch with clients, prospects, and ask them for a short little bit of their time and just listen deeply to what they have to say about how your business fits into their lives. And that will just give you, marketing gold.
Perfect.
So yeah, I think they're the two big ones, really. They're the two big ones. Maybe the third one, be your own press. What is that article? What is that article that you would love to see about yourself in Forbes or whatever the right magazine or publication is for you? What would that be? And just publish it yourself and get it out there.
I love that. Don't wait to be picked. Choose yourself. Put yourself on the front cover. I love it. I think we should make a challenge out of that. That would be fun, to just have people make your own Forbes article. I'd love that.
Yeah.
I think that's great. That's gold. Well, thank you so much for sharing such great advice with us today, Frank. I encourage everybody to go and check out Frank's profile, connect with him, follow him, whatever you so choose to do. Check out his website. And really, if a lot of this resonated, please at least start with subscribing to Frank's newsletter on LinkedIn. It's a wonderful newsletter, and go check out the last issue, because it was amazing to see these AI graphics, and you're like, whoa. And I loved you did the comparison, and quite an education, because that's not something I don't know very much about. So it was great. Nicely done. Nicely done.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. And we look forward to you coming back next week to talk and learn more on LinkedIn Live with Gillian and friends. Okay. Thanks everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.